So to begin with, we will need to remove this rear cover here. There's actually 4 screws. One starting from here. There's 1, 2. This one's already been removed, and then 3 and 4. So basically, you need a 3mm Allen key to remove the 4 screws, and that will loosen the rear cover. This rear cover here. So once the 4 screws have been removed, you can then just pull the rear cover off like this, and that will expose the back of the machine. The next step you'll want to do is loosen this nut here. This nut holds the conveyor belt roller in place and locks it so that it doesn't turn. So we'll go ahead and remove that. Okay, so a lot of times, okay, I'm gonna get it just a little bit more loose. But a lot of times, once you get the initial nut loosened a little bit, you can actually turn it by hand. All right, so once you get the nut loosened, make sure to make note of the locking washer here, and don't lose that. And because when we put it back together, you're gonna need to put it back together the same way. Now, with this nut off, this holder now is able to be turned and loosened. Now, to get there, you'll need to go from the front of the holder here, and then you can then take the wrench and grab onto the holder here. And basically start to turn it. Now you'll want to make sure that you're turning it the correct direction to make sure you're loosening the holder. And not tightening it. If you have a hard time getting to the holder, you can sometimes just lift the table up a little bit. That will allow you to loosen the that will allow you to get better access because the belt isn't in the way. And so I'm gonna so the holder got loosened enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and start loosening it by hand. Okay, so then right now I'm essentially turning this by hand to get the holder out. You see the holder is moving in this direction. So I'm gonna loosen that all the way until the holder is all the way out. And then from there, the conveyor roller should just come out the bottom here. You can remove the holder that way. And so there's basically 2 pieces that you need to pay attention to. There's a pin here, and this hole indent here, and that matches onto the indent here. And if you notice here, there's a notch here that drives the other end. So once you got the inner conveyor roller out, the next step is pretty simple. You just loosen the outer nuts here to get access to remove the table. And again, be cautious to keep note of where there's locking washers, because you'll need those to put back when you put everything back together. So once this this has been removed. Take note of the order. There's the bolt, the locking washer, and then a plain washer. That's to protect the finish on the machine. Then we're gonna do the same thing on the bottom here. So now that is loosened, that will allow the belt to slip out here. Now, on the Elite Series model specifically, you'll also need to take apart this assembly here. And that's also pretty simple. You just gotta remove these 4 bolts here. Okay, again, make note of the locking washers. Now before removing this, just make sure you're holding it so it doesn't just fall off when you loosen all the screws. Okay, so now that all that has been loosened, you can remove the cover here. Now, one last thing to do, you'll also need to remove this nut here, or this bolt here, in order to get access to remove the cover as well. I'm going to get another Allen key. Okay, there we go. So this screw here is actually holding in. It's meant to help adjust the tightness of the outer conveyor roller, but in this case, what we're doing is if you notice closely, we're just removing the bolt here. Make note of that position where that nut is here, because that is what locks the screw into position later on, like when you need to put everything back together. And from there, this end cover will be removable. Okay, remove that. And now you can then remove the belts. So there's a little gap here and here. And now the belt's removable, like this. Now, to reinstall the new belt, you just do everything in reverse order. Make sure to use gloves or something to keep your hands from making the new belts dirty. And then slide the new belts on. And then just put everything back together the same way. So making note of this screw here going into the holder for the outer conveyor roller. Okay, I'm going to keep turning this until you notice the positioning here. Just keep turning that until things are back to the original position. And then there, that will mark the location that it's supposed to be put back in that place. Okay, when you're putting it back together, make sure that the tray is gonna fit into the slider here so that doesn't fall out. Make sure that's locked into place. And then from there, you can lock the 4 bolts on the side here back into place. Okay, and good guideline is to just tighten as much as you can by hand before putting in the final, tightening it a final couple of turns with the wrench. Okay, so now that that's back on, that's good. Then we can put these back on to secure the table. Okay, again, I'm leaving the tightening of all the bolts to the very end once everything is put back together. But just make sure to tighten it the same amount as before. Okay, so next then, we're going to want to reinstall the inner conveyor roller here. Okay, now it'll be easier with the table lifted up like this. And again, you'll want to match up this notch here, this notch and pin. So this is lined up. This is lined up the same way here. So in this case, the notch here is going around that, is going up vertically like that. I'm going to turn it so that it's roughly matched up like this. Now I'm demonstrating this without without the conveyor belt covering the roller, so that you can see how the inner conveyor roller is put on. But effectively, when you put it back in, you're going to want to put it under the belt and then match it up. But just for demonstration, I'm going to make it easier so you can see what's going on. Match this pin with this notch here. Okay, then let's see, make sure it's sliding in and locked fully like this, all the way in. And then the next step is, you see this holder here? I'm gonna start tightening it until it gets inserted into the roller. This is very important to make sure that everything is lining up properly and tightened all the way. So once this is in, you see there's still a little bit more give there. You wanna keep tightening it until you cannot tighten it anymore. Now I'm holding this roller here, this roller holder here, the cap, so that I can keep turning it and tightening it as much as I can. And then you can use the wrench here to tighten it a few last turns. I'm gonna hold this and tighten it. Okay, so that's tight enough. Okay, you'll want to make sure that you can turn the roller relatively easily so that it's not too tight. So that's about right. Now, once the holder is back into place, then you'll want to put the locking nut back on with the locking washer over here. Okay. Okay, then that's hand tightened. Not going to go anywhere. And you just put the back cover back on. Just slide it back on. And then secure the four recessed screws to get the cover back on. And that's a quick summary of how to replace the conveyor belts on our Elite Series dough sheeters. If you have any questions, please give us a call